Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Chapter 2 lecture on geography. Just so you know, I do use a script, and that is more for me to stay on track and not go off on a tangent. So it's in order for me to keep our lectures short and sweet. And I do like to record these lectures in short segments. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Excellent. So, welcome to Chapter 2 lecture on physical geography and the environment. Today, we're going to dive into how Earth's physical processes shape our world and influence human life. So, our learning objectives for this lecture are quite comprehensive. First, we're going to describe aspects of tectonic plate theory that are responsible for shaping Earth's surface. Then, we'll identify where earthquakes and volcanoes are hazardous to human settlement. We will also list and explain the factors that control the world's weather and climate and use these to describe major climate regions. We'll define the greenhouse effect and explain its relationship to anthropogenic climate change. We'll summarize the major issues underlining international efforts to address climate change, and we'll locate and describe the characteristics of the world's bioregions. We'll name some of the threats to Earth's biodiversity, and we will identify the causes of global water stress. We will describe the world's geography of fossil fuel production and consumption. And finally, we're going to list the advantages and disadvantages of different kinds of renewable energy. So throughout this course, we will see how elements of physical geography pertain to different regions. So let's get started. Oh, by the way, these are some of your key terms, which I do post in the module. Okay, so when we look at the physical geography of a location, we are also considering its geology. Geologic processes shape the Earth's surface, creating its diverse landscape, and this geologic foundation is central to a wide variety of human activities. One of the most fundamental concepts in geology is plate tectonics, and this is a geophysical theory stating that the Earth's surface is comprised of large geologic platforms, which we call plates. And these plates move slowly across the surface. They move at about the rate of your fingernail growth. Now, what drives this movement? It's heat exchange in Earth's interior, specifically through convection cells. It's important to remember that continents are not identical to plates, okay? Continents and ocean basins sit on top of these plates, and some plates can even contain the continent and the ocean. Okay, so the continents are different from the plates. There are different types of plate boundaries, each with distinct characteristics and resulting landforms. So I'm going to actually get my annotation up here to show you some movements. Okay, so we do have different types of plate boundaries. Now, the type of plate boundary creates different landforms on Earth's surface. So our first one we're going to talk about is the convergent plate boundary. Okay, convergent plate boundary. And this occurs when two plates are coming together and colliding. Now, when a heavier plate, typically an oceanic plate, converges with a lighter one, the continental plate, the heavier plate gets subducted underneath the lighter one. So here we see the subducting plate, okay? And the heavier plate gets subducted underneath the lighter plate, delving below the continental crust, okay? Now, this process forms predictable landforms such as deep oceanic trenches, okay? Now, as the subducting plate subducts underneath the continental plate, the plate starts to heat up. Magma forms and rises to the surface because heat rises. So typically, this creates volcanoes and oftentimes long volcanic mountain ranges along the side of the plate boundary. So a classic example of this is the Andes Mountains along the western coast of South America, formed by the Nazca Plate, which is an oceanic plate, subducting underneath the South American plate, a continental plate. Japan is also a well-known subduction zone with volcanic islands. Okay, going to clear this. Now, we also have excuse me, I skipped diverging plate boundaries. Okay, going back here, we have diverging plate boundaries. And this is where two or more plates are moving apart from one another. Okay, they are moving apart from one another. So this creates a very thin layer of Earth's crust, allowing magma to escape from within the surface. Okay, so this is where the magma is coming up from Earth's internal. So it's coming up onto the Earth's surface. And it's where the newest Earth is formed, from the center of Earth. Iceland is a prime example of a diverging plate boundary where the North American plate is moving away from the Eurasian plate, creating unique landforms and even fascinating tourism opportunities. There are all the drawings. Okay, so we also have transform plate boundaries. And transform plate boundaries are where two plates are sliding or moving past one another, alongside one another. They're not coming together or pulling apart, they're sliding past each other. Now, the most well-known example is especially familiar here in Southern California. It is the San Andreas Fault, where the North American plate and the Pacific plate are sliding past one another. And these grinding plates create faults. Okay, so we have that. I will point out here, I'm going to change my color to a brighter color. So here we have the transform plate where the Pacific plate is moving north and the North American plate is moving south, and they are sliding past one another. These create a lot of strong earthquakes, as we are familiar with. And then we have here in the creation of Japan, we have a converging plate boundary where the Pacific plate is diving below the Eurasian plate, creating a volcanic island chain of Japan. We also have here the Andes Mountains, where we have converging plates, where the Nazca plate again is moving below the South American plate, creating this long Andes mountain chain. Okay. Then here we have Iceland, where we have diverging plates, the North American plate moving away from the Eurasian plate, and we have the newest landforms being formed in Iceland, where we have a thin crust and magma coming up. We also have areas with diverging plate boundaries here in the Red Sea. They're all over the place, okay? All right, so let's clear these drawings and continue on. Okay. All right, so these geological processes also bring geologic hazards. Earthquakes, which we're familiar with, volcanoes occur primarily along plate boundaries, and they can have major effects on human settlement and activities. So, the area along the Pacific plate is famously called the Pacific Ring of Fire. We see here earthquakes mapped along around the Pacific plate. And again, we call this the Pacific Ring of Fire. In our lower image here, we see volcanoes in yellow mapped, okay? And again, representing the Pacific Ring of Fire. Now, while earthquakes can destroy older buildings, especially in areas with less developed building materials, modern structures in places like California are often built to withstand major earthquakes. Sometimes these structures even built on rollers that allow for a sway to occur with the building. Okay, so modern engineering has really transformed how buildings respond to earthquakes. Now, despite their destructive potential, volcanic activity can also offer benefits. Volcanic soils are rich in nutrients for agriculture. Geothermal heat can be used for heating or generating electricity, and scenic volcanic landscapes attract tourism, benefiting local economies. So I'm going to pause this lecture here and continue on where we will be talking about global climates.